Can the Rebbe be Mashiach? That was the question I asked, right? Now we got to keep it intellectual, right? We're having an intellectual conversation, right?
Exactly.
Because if you want to get emotional, then forget about it. You don't need me for this. You know what I mean? So, okay, good. So the answer is, the answer was Marty's question. Marty asked, well, is he from the line of David? Which means that Marty is aware that Maimonides gives us a list of what it takes to qualify as the Mashiach. Let's take a look at that list.
That was what I was going to say.
What is the list, right?
What's the criteria?
So I just pulled it up. Here it is.
What's
Here
the
it is.
job description?
Okay, so the job description appears in Maimonides' Laws of Kings. Okay, this is the very, very end of Maimonides' 14 books. The 14 books of Maimonides, the Laws of Kings. Okay, it goes like this. This is beautiful, beautiful stuff. Very fundamental, very important. The Messianic king will arise in the future and restore the divine kingdom to its former state and original sovereignty. He will build a sanctuary and gather the dispersed of Israel. All the laws will be reinstituted in his days, as they had been aforetime. Sacrifices will be offered, and the sabbatical years and jubilee years will be observed fully as ordained by the Torah. Anyone who does not believe in Mashiach, or whoever does not look forward to his coming, denies not only the teachings of the other prophets, but also of the Torah and of Moses, our teacher. For the Torah attested to him, as it said. Now he brings a whole bunch of prophecies, which I'm going to skip. These words explicitly said in the Torah include all the messianic statements made by the prophets. I'm skipping over the Torah sources that Maimonides brings that there is a Mashiach. Do not think that the messianic king will have to perform signs and wonders and bring about novel things in the world, or resurrect the dead and other such things. It is not so, says Maimonides. I'm just reading straight from Maimonides, right? This is seen from the fact that Rabbi Akiva was a great sage of the sages of the Mishnah, and he was the armor bearer of King Bar Koziba. And said of him, Rabbi Akiva said of Bar Koziba that he was the Messianic king. Rabbi Akiva and all the wise men of his generation considered him to be the Messianic king until Bar Koziba was killed because of his sins. And when he was killed, they realized that he was not. But the sages had not asked him for any sign or wonder. The essence of all this is that this Torah of ours is statutes and laws of forever. Okay, now here it is. Here's the qualifications list. Here it is. If a king arises from the house of David, son after son, the house of David, who meditates on the Torah and occupies himself with the commandments, like his ancestor David, in accordance with the written and oral Torah. And he will prevail upon all of Israel to walk in the ways of the Torah and strengthen its breaches. And he will fight the battles of God. It may be assumed that he is the Mashiach.
That's it.
That's all that it says here. That's all. It doesn't say that he resurrected the dead.
No donkey.
It doesn't say that he gathered the exiles or the other stuff that we said before. It doesn't say that he has to do a single miracle. He has to be summarized. He has to be a descendant of David, son after son. He has to meditate on Torah and occupy himself with the commandments like his ancestor David. That's a lot. Number 3, he's got to influence all of Israel in the ways of Torah and strengthen its breaches, and he's got to fight the battles of God. That's it. Now, you mention Jesus. Was Jesus son after son from David? Yes or no?
No.
Yes or no?
I don't know. But
I don't know.
I do know.
Was Joseph?
I do know. You know who his father was?
Joseph.
Yeah.
No.
Yes.
Who do they say his father was?
Hashem.
God. Okay, so he's not from the line of David.
Well,
I'm serious.
Was Joseph?
Guys, it's not. Guys, you need to understand. It's not a Baba Maisa.
No.
This is not a Baba. You need to understand.
That wasn't the point.
If somebody in the Middle Ages, when they had this debate with the Christians, and the Christian would say, "Why don't you Jews accept Jesus as the Messiah?" But they couldn't say that, so that would have been treasonous and ended in execution. They couldn't even say that he was, well, according to you guys, is the son of God. I mean, they might have been able to say this. If he's the son of God, that's fantastic, but it doesn't qualify to be the son of David, right? He's got to be the line of David, which is why it's important, Andy, without getting emotional, to understand why he was disqualified.
They took a matrilineal approach, but I'm not.
Who took a matrilineal approach?
I'm not here to justify that. That's not the point.
Since when do we take a matrilineal approach when it comes to tribal
You
affiliation?
asked the question.
But besides that, it says that he has to observe all the Torah mitzvahs. Did Jesus do that? I don't think he did that. He changed a lot of the laws.
He was a rabbi.
But he was a renegade rabbi.
And
He broke the laws. He didn't fulfill even one of these laws. The only thing going for him was that he was a good speaker. What?
The so-called laws were published post-mortem by those who established
Which laws?
new religion.
Maimonides? Oh, you're talking about, no, Christianity.
Just forget Christian.
Fine. No worries. Very good. Let's go back to the case over here. So we're talking about the Rebbe. We asked the question about 770, right? So does the Rebbe come like descendant of King David? The answer is 100% yes. The Rebbe is a son after son from the Tzemach Tzedek, the third Chabad Rebbe, who's a son after son from the Alter Rebbe, who is a seventh generation son after son from the Maharal of Prague, who is a direct descendant, son after son of King David. This is a documented fact. I published it in my own family tree. If you want to find it, it's at jewishgardens.com/roots. Now, that's my family tree. I'm a sixth cousin from the Rebbe. But if you look at the family tree, you'll see from King David all the way down to the Maharal of Prague. And the Alter Rebbe was son after son.
So were you King David?
I am not from, I'll tell you, because in my family tree, I go through the Alter Rebbe, the Mitzvah Rebbe, the second. Then the Mitzvah Rebbe's daughter was Menucha Rachel. So could it be that her husband was from David? I don't know. I'm not sure. But I know that my line, I do come from David, but there was mothers of them. Maybe I'm not, I don't know. Either I'm not
Get your donkey.
right. But let's look at the Rebbe from a purely intellectual approach. The Rebbe is son after son from King David. Check. Does the Rebbe occupy himself in Torah and mitzvahs like David, his ancestor? If it seems so, yeah. I mean, there's nobody else. You open one book of the Rebbe's teachings, one any page. Open any page, and you just look at the footnotes. Don't even read it. Just look at the footnotes and the cross-referencing through all of Torah. There is no sage today that has that kind of breadth and depth in Torah. It's unbelievable. The Rebbe had of his works published, and they're still being published because they can't keep up with it. The Rebbe probably had 400, 500 volumes of Torah teachings that have already been published, and they're still working on editing them and expanding them. So there's no secret here. Yeah. Now, the third one is very interesting. He will prevail upon all of Israel to walk in the ways of Torah and strengthen its breaches. No. Prevail upon all of Israel, the people of Israel. He'll influence all of the Jews in the world to grow in Torah mitzvahs. Now, that's a very interesting one. When you think about, how many great rabbis, descendant of King David, great scholars, have actually been able to influence more than their immediate community. Because, you got big rabbis in Lakewood and in Gateshead in England and in London and in Borough Park and in Jerusalem and in Bnei Brak, great rabbis. But beyond their own communities, they're not very well known. And maybe if they are well known in the Orthodox Jewish community, nobody ever heard of them in the conservative or the Reform or the unaffiliated Jewish community. You look at the Rebbe and you're like, that 40% of American Jews have a relationship with Chabad. That's like, whoa.
That's crazy.
That's crazy. When religion is on the decline across all sectors, and you look at that, you're like, whoa, that's eyebrow raising, right? And the final one, you will fight the battles of God. That's a bit of a difficult one because it's hard to identify. But was the Rebbe, 1967 Six-Day War, we're going to win this war, we're going to lay tefillin, and all those campaigns. It's interesting. There's a lot of interesting things here. So back to my original question. Now that we see the definition of Mashiach, right? Mashiach is not a popularity contest. Could the Rebbe be Mashiach? That's the question. The answer is
Possibly.
he checks in all boxes. Now,